Hey everybody, welcome to the CALI webinar on Introduction to CALI Classcaster. I'm Elmer Masters, and I'll be your host this afternoon. I'll be taking you through a little bit about Classcaster. Actually, before we get started, let's just make sure if everybody could click, just to make sure everybody's hearing me, if you could click the raise your hand button in the, there goes 1, 2, all right. And then that way, in the, I guess there's in the webinar control panel. Sorry, I don't use this software too often, so I might be a little rusty. Austin, we are recording this, correct?
Yeah, we're recording this, and this is Austin with CALI. And if you want to send me any questions that I can relay to Elmer, there's also a question function, or you can raise your hand like you just did, and I'm sure Elmer won't mind if you interrupt him.
Yes, I like to do things in a pretty interactive fashion. So yeah, feel free to post your questions, and we'll get them as we go along. This should take the format should be about probably about 30 minutes plus time for questions. Okay, so. Basically, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna give you an overview of what Classcaster is, how you might use it, and then things you could do with it, and then I'll actually walk you through the creation of a blog, so you'll actually be able to follow along. To start, Classcaster is our blogging and podcasting network, and it's actually 5 years old. We've been doing this now for actually over 5 years, almost 5.5 now. But in August of this year, we actually released Classcaster 2.0, which is our new version, which is powered by WordPress. And that's the site that we're looking at right now. Now, WordPress is the blogging software that's the most widely used blogging software in the world. So it's a nice, solid platform to build things on. Classcaster is available to faculty, librarians, and staff at CALI member law schools. As part of the CALI membership fee. So it's free to use, and we certainly encourage people to to try out different things. We have faculty using it for coursework. We have librarians using it for library information sites. We have placement offices using it to post videos for students to look at with interview tips and that sort of stuff. We have some law schools are posting speakers and that sort of thing. So there are a lot of different uses to it besides just using it for your course.
Right, we're running the Law Librarian podcast and the Law School Tech Talk podcast too from it.
Yes, we actually run those two podcasts live, and we'll take a little bit of a look at one in just a bit. So you can use Classcaster. The original design was intended to provide faculty with a way to share podcasts of their classes, either by recording their lectures or recording the summaries of their lectures, or some sort of combination of both of those, and posting them, and letting students have access to those recordings that way. And then students would be able to download the recordings and listen to them wherever they would like. We've had we've heard from students who load them onto their iPods or MP3 players and listen to them at the gym. We've heard from students who burn them on CDs and play them in the car during their commute. So students make a lot of use of these things. In addition, you could also use Classcaster to do video. We have a couple of faculty members who actually post video recordings of their classes. You can also use Classcaster to distribute PowerPoint slides and syllabi and that sort of thing. And you can use it in the traditional blogging sense also, so that you could post articles and readings and have your students read them. They could comment on them. You could have students post. I don't think we currently have anybody doing that, but in the past we've had faculty use Classcaster with all of their students, and students were required to post one article a week or something like that to the blog. So it can be used to encourage more student participation. We can take a quick look at some of the different blogs that are on Classcaster right now. Austin had mentioned the Law School Tech Talk podcast, and there's also the Law Librarian Conversation podcast. And basically, these are two live podcasts that are done using the GoToWebinar, the same software we have now, and then the archives are posted to Classcaster so that folks can download and listen to them later, so that folks sort of have access to this sort of stuff. Now the thing is that with all of the features that are included in Classcaster, you can see, for example, that there's a button that'll link directly to iTunes, so that you can actually subscribe. You can actually subscribe to the podcast. Can actually run through iTunes. For schools that are, I know that some law schools use iTunes U, which does roughly the same thing. It allows you to put stuff up there. But this is another way if your school doesn't use iTunes U, or if you don't want all of your stuff stuck in on the Apple server. This allows people to subscribe with iTunes and get your materials. We also have another feature that allows you to dial into Classcaster with a telephone. This is Joyce Saltalamachia's torts blog for this semester, and what Joyce does is she at the end of her class, at the end of every session, she goes back to her office, picks up her phone, and dials a special telephone number and records about a 10 to 15-minute summary of what was just covered in the class. Also, sometimes she'll fill in some details and maybe respond to late questions, that sort of thing. And then that gets loaded right to her blog, so her students have that extra material and that little bit of summary. And it's very popular. Joyce has actually been doing this since we started, and she's actually one of our longest running bloggers. You can also just this is Robin Craig's civil procedure blog. As you can see, we have a lot of variation in the theming, so you can do a lot of interesting things. It doesn't have to look like every other blog in the world. You can actually customize it a little bit. Robin is doing full class recordings, which folks can download from her blog. This is Norm Garland's blog. He actually posts video as well as PowerPoints from his class and the audio, and he includes a picture with every post also to sort of give his students something to see. So, this is an example of how you can sort of get beyond just, regular audio. So if you have the capability, his AV department actually posts or actually records the class for him and helps him put it up. This is the civil procedure section from Elon Law School, and you can see here they're actually doing things like embedding YouTube video can be done, and other graphics can be included along, in the blog, so the students have even this additional material. They also have they've created a page for the syllabus for the course, so students can find the syllabus here. They have links out to other material, so you can really add a lot of additional material to the blog also. Okay, and this is actually one of is an interesting blog. This is the Law Student Guide to Free Legal Research, which is sort of a joint project between CALI and LII at Cornell to put something together that provides a single source for law students to find out about free legal research. So this is intended to be sort of a resource blog that provides students with access, mostly through links to the wide variety of free legal research materials that are available on the web. So those are just some of the things that you can do with Classcaster. So now let's just take a real quick look at just how easy it is to create a blog in Classcaster. And actually, you can follow along at home if you'd like. All you need is your CALI username and password. And then what we're going to do is, this is the Classcaster homepage, so it's www.classcaster.net. And you can just click on the Create a Blog link. Okay, and it's going to ask you for your username and password, and it reminds you a couple of times you need your CALI information, and it gives you, if you don't have a CALI account, there's a link so you can go and create one. We're going to use so you can log in. Now this is I already have blogs, so it's telling me that I can get another one, and that answers one of the frequent questions that I get, which is, Elmer, how many blogs can I have? And the answer to that question is, how many blogs do you want? There are basically no limits to the number of blogs that you can have. We do sort of like it if you don't set up a new test blog every other week and just do like one post and go away, but that's okay. Nobody will ever really notice, but if you want to do a new blog, some folks do a new blog every semester. Some folks have been using the same blog for 5 years, and they just add tags to the stuff as their courses change over 5 years. So you can have as many blogs as you like. So if we're going to create a blog, the first thing we need to do is we need to know what the domain is, and that's going to be something .classcaster.net. It should be a single word, no spaces, and should be all lowercase, and I heartily recommend you use just numbers and letters. It'll actually give you an error if you get into any kind of strange characters. but we're going to create a blog, and let's just call it, we'll call it Classcaster Intro. Then I can give the blog a title. In the title, you can use anything. You can actually give it a title, and this will show up at the top of the page when you create the blog. So we're going to call it an introduction to Classcaster. Next, there's a privacy selection, and basically, if you're creating a blog, I would suggest saying this to no until you're ready to show it to the world. Because if you set it to yes, then it turns up in the list of blogs on our site, and also Google will find it pretty fast. So if you want, if you're setting something up, I suggest setting this to no, and I'll show you how to switch it once you've created the blog. So now we've got our blog. So we click Create Blog, and so it tells me that it's all set up and that we're basically ready to go at this point. So we can head right over there. And then this is sort of the default default theme and such for the Classcaster blog. Okay. So once you have your blog, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set some stuff up. So under miscellaneous, there's a link for site admin. That will take you to your Classcaster dashboard. Okay, and then from here we can set about customizing the blog. For example, we can click on Appearance, and that will give us the ability to change the theme. And there are currently, let's see, somewhere it tells me, right, there are 101 themes available at the moment, and you can sort of page through them, take a few minutes and sort of look around and see if there's anything that looks like it might be, might be useful, or that you find interesting that you might like to use, as your blog. I think we'll go to page 7. See what's here at the end. Let's try. Well, let's use this one. Waterlily. So now I've activated my theme, and if we actually took a quick peek at the site, we'll see that that's now what it looks like. So,
it's a very pretty theme, Elmer.
It is, isn't it nice? Oh, yeah.
It's very calming.
It is. Well, actually, it is actually pretty nice. But we've only just begun. One of the things that we see at the top now is it tells us that the new theme's been activated, and then it tells us that this theme supports widgets. Now, most of the themes support widgets, and that's actually good because, as we're about to see, that allows you to add boxes of things to your site. So we're going to go to the widget setting page. Now, this particular theme has just one sidebar. Some themes have up to 7 areas that you can add widgets to. So you'll have 7 in this area on the side over here. You'll actually have like 7 7 sorts of things. Did that actually highlight stuff?
Yeah. Cool.
Right. So if only I had found this earlier. Now, so that will that will allow you to set up some different sorts of things. So we have the sidebar. Now, one word about widgets. You'll notice that right now there are several things in the sidebar here. Okay. As soon as I add a widget, some of those will go away. So I'm going to want to make sure that I replicate, the sort of stuff that I want. And the one that's really important to make sure that you always drop into your site somewhere on the site is the one that's marked meta, which I'm dragging over here now. And that's because that includes your login prompt, as well as some other things. So you'll want to have that. You're probably also going to want to have the list of most recent posts. We can put that in, and you'll see that we can move these around and rearrange them. And have options. You can just leave them alone for the default, and clicking in the upper right hand here will actually shrink. We'll actually shrink things, shrink those closed, and then we'll also want a search so that folks can find things. And
that title box just changes how it shows up on the blog itself. So if you want search to be search this blog or something like that, it can actually.
So, right. So if we want the title to be right, yes, search this blog. So when we actually go and look at the blog, so that's what we had. Search this blog, and it says search for. But see, all the other things that were there have now vanished. So we need to make sure that we pull all that stuff in. So you can do those widgets. The text widget is kind of neat because it allows you to put in basically any text or any HTML. So you can type anything in here, and it's good for like a little about box, about your blog, that sort of thing. So that or if you have you could use it to post office hours. Or just about anything that you can anything that you can really think about sticking in there. So those are widgets. Additionally, some themes allow you to do stuff like load your own custom header. So if you're in a situation where maybe your law school requires you to put your law school logo on everything, you can do that with certain themes that will allow you to upload that sort of stuff. Additionally, another way to customize your site is through the use of plugins. And the Classcaster site has quite a number of plugins. You'll see that the ones that are grayed out aren't available yet. The ones that are showing up in white are turned on automatically. So that you can see there's certain things that need to be that I've already decided you always need to have turned on. So for example, the audio player that allows you to do these nifty play it now features where there's a built-in audio player. That's enabled by default. Okay, but you also see that there are a number of other plugins that are available to allow you to do things like add a chat room. You can do polls. You can do You can do things with posting to Twitter and Facebook. There's a forum server which will allow you to have a forum to look at the various, so that, you know, if you want to have discussions. There's a special iPhone theme. If you activate that, it'll give you a nice way to look at the thing in the blog on the iPhone. Additionally, sometimes when you activate a plugin, it'll tell you that it makes widgets available, and so you can go back then and move those move widgets around. Okay. So we've got things pretty much set up at this point. There's a settings that basically allow you to adjust the various settings, including the tagline. It's another CALI Classcaster blog. Most people don't really want to use that, so you know, we can do find out about Classcaster here. And that will, and you can also do things like adjust the way the time sets up and what your time zone is. We're going to go, I think I want, let's see, is it -5? No, actually minus, well, anyway, you can adjust your time zone. If we save those changes, that's going to, that'll be reflected here too. So we see, find out about Classcaster here. It turns up under that theme. So that's basically how you kind of get it set up. To create a post, you basically click on Post in the dashboard and click on Add New, and then you're presented with a nice little edit box, and you can type away and do things like you can add, whoops, I can correct my typing. You can add links to things by typing in the text and then clicking on the link button, and then you can tell it where we want to go. I always like to set the target to a new window so people stay on my blog. And that's, and you can insert that, so then you have a link. You can add images through the Add Media button. Also add audio files, that sort of thing. One of the other questions that we get asked is, how do I hide this so that only my students can see it? Under the Publish box on the right here, you'll see something for visibility. Yeah, it helps to actually circle the right visibility. Yeah, well. And it's by default it's set to public. If you click that, you can set it to password protected, which will then allow you to set a password for that post. Okay. You can set it to private. Private means that only, that's actually a little bit more complicated, because private means that only certain users on your blog can see it. That's going to require people to log in. And setting up additional users on your blog is sort of an advanced topic. But generally, people who want to use password protection on posts just use the password, use one password, and then they just set it for all the posts. You can also add tags, sort of describe stuff. And you can categorize your things. Now, sometimes people kind of get, what's the difference between categories and tags? Categories are sort of broad, really broad topic areas. Tags are probably, sort of more closely tied to really specific content that you have. You can also control whether or not comments are available. By default, that's turned off. You can actually go back into the settings for your blog and turn it on so that all the posts automatically have comments. There is spam protection built in, much better than on the old Classcaster, but it will still send you a note saying you've got spam spam comments in your blog. What do you want to do with them? So you do want to think about whether or not you're allowing comments.
And actually, Elmer, can you make it so you have to approve any comment that goes up there before it's actually shown on the page?
Yes. Yes, under settings. So let's publish this. Under settings, and then under discussion are the defaults for your for comments. So here is where you would include email me whenever, before a comment appears, an administrator must always approve the comment. And then it'll hold a comment if it contains some of these are sort of, and if you have it set that they always have to be approved, then it doesn't make any difference what's in the moderation thing. If you have it set so that people can comment right away, you can actually have something that has like more than 2 links go to the moderation queue, because typically a lot of times spam ends up with we'll have like a ton of links. Okay. You can also put a list of words or IP addresses or URLs or email if there's some things that you don't ever want to show up in comments, and that'll kill those comments by default. Okay. We also have a plugin somewhere. Oh, I know it's here. Actually, it might be turned on everywhere. Oh, there is a CAPTCHA plugin here somewhere too that will allow you to set up that sort of like little challenge thing to try and keep machine-based stuff out. When you hit the publish button, by the way, it turns up immediately. So my first post is there, and that's sort of how they've got it. So that's sort of the introductory. That's the introduction to Classcaster. I don't want to go on too long. Does anybody have any questions?
I actually have a question for the audience, if you guys can just raise your hand. Does everyone have their CALI username and password? Can you raise your hand if you do have the password? I see a few of you don't or aren't listening, which might be the case. But I want to encourage you to email us if you need help registering at cali.org, because that's what you need to do first before you can actually set up the Classcaster blog. So set up your account first if you haven't done that, then go into Classcaster and do that. That's just it.
Okay.
So does anybody else have any questions? You can raise your hand again if you want. I don't see any at the moment. So just going through this, I mean, it can seem a little overwhelming because there are a lot of options, but basically, I think Classcaster is something you can use out of the box, just with some of those basic features that Elmer went through. And I mean, if you want to play around with all those settings, I highly recommend it, and I suggest it to see which ones you want to use. But it's really simple in the way it's set up and the way you can administer it, but it also has a bunch of advanced features. So I want to encourage anyone who has questions to contact me, because I keep up, I think at this point, about 4 or 5 different blogs and administer them, and I can certainly help you with that.
Right, and there's also there's help.classcaster.net, which is the home of the Classcaster FAQs. So that and you can actually find some answers here, we're also running the Classcaster forum plugin here. So we have forums. Nobody's really asked any questions in a while. But again, if you're logged in, you can use these forums to ask questions, and sometimes other people will jump into. And the FAQ is also a good place to start.
Yeah, so I just encourage you to go out there right now and create a blog, even just a test blog if you want to play around with it before you set up a real blog for your students, and just play with those settings and see what works for you, and let us know if you have questions.
Okay.
So Elmer, you think we're good?
I think we're good if nobody has any questions. And then the recording will be posted on
webinar. It should be webinars.classcaster.net. Can you check that URL real quick, Elmer?
Webinars.
Plural.
Webinars.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's it. All right, then. If there's nothing else, I want to thank everybody for attending.
Yep, thanks everybody.
All right, bye.